Hello, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio. Passionate World Talk Radio is a subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC, and our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. And, folks, I'm excited about my guest today. All my guests are phenomenal in their own way, and today is no exception. I just want to say, excuse my voice if it gets raspy because I just developed a sore throat today. And I do have to say my disclaimer before I forget. The views of the guest may not represent those of the host or the station. With me today, folks, is Jim B. North. He is an award-winning writer, author. He is a speaker. He's a former reporter with Gaylord News. Jim has won multiple journalism awards for his human interest storytelling and was a workshop speaker at the John Hope Franklin Symposium in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Jim has a BA in journalism, MA in professional writing. He studied international reporting at Hebrew University in Israel, and that must have been an interesting experience. And he is a writer and author of this wonderful book, Unsung Heroes, Wear No Capes, 12 Essential Virtues for an Extraordinary Life. And I have to tell you, folks, you have to go on the website, jimbnorth.com, to know more about Jim because there's so much more to tell. And fascinating person. I'm honored and to have you on today, Jim. Welcome to Chatting with Betsy.
Thank you so much, Betsy. Wonderful to be with you. I'm just super happy and thrilled to talk to you today. So I love what you do, the way you do it, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, you are welcome. It is my pleasure. And before I forget, this month, which is almost half over already, and I know this won't post until December, but November is National Family Caregiving Month. And what a time for this book to come out. Because I just want to take a moment to honor caregivers. You are the unsung heroes. You are taking care of your loved one. And even if they're in a facility, you are still a caregiver. You are managing their care. And I just want to take a moment to honor caregivers all over the world because you don't wear a cape, but you are a hero, whether you want to admit it or not. So I just had to say that. Jim, your book is so timely for the time we live in right now. How did you come up with the title that I just love, and what motivated you to write this wonderful book?
Well, I wanted to write something inspirational and devotional, that represented things that matter the most in our lives, things that have made the most difference for me, things that have made the most difference for other people, things that sometimes are under the radar that we don't really always give enough credit for. This is the thing that helped me be extraordinarily successful, right? It's sometimes the things unnoticed, unrecognized, unapplauded, sometimes even by other people, but the core thing that drove you to that outward success, right? There's core values, there's the nuts and bolts of character. If someone asks me, hey, Jim, what's greatness? I say greatness is character. And when we put character into everything we do, we're not going to have to be concerned about our achievements. Those will come, right?
Right.
But what we don't want, really, Betsy, is to have great achievement but not have the nuts and bolts of character, because sooner or later some balloons are going to pop.
Yes.
So we really want to get there the right way, and the thing is that lives matter and make a difference in the lives of other people because of the exercise of the character attributes that we have access to.
And you know what, Jim? A lot of people think that they can't make a difference in the world or in someone's life, and yet they do. A lot of people don't realize that they do that. Just saying a kind word to somebody, giving someone a smile, giving a word of encouragement, to me, that is part of being an unsung hero.
I totally agree. I think that's very well said. And the thing, I've heard the phrase before, you probably have too, big doors get swung open by little hinges. It's the little things that we do when we put our heart and soul in the small things, they make a large difference. Okay, well, if someone said to me, okay, Jim, go change lives. Okay, I can't change lives, but I can contribute to lives. And when I'm willing to contribute, even those small things like you're talking about, those are the things that for a person that make the most difference. And then that contribution can change a life, right? Change is out of my hands. Change is totally out of my hands. But contribution is in my hands. So I contribute, and contributions affect change. And when you have changed a person, you've changed the world. But you did that by focusing on contribution. And how many times, you probably can look at your life, I can look at my life and know that there were points where someone said, and I'm going to your point right here, where someone said something encouraging to you and it totally changed your course.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
What you're saying is true. It's inspirational. It's motivational. Contributions like that affect large, sweeping changes.
That's absolutely true. And I have to, I didn't mention this, but I will now, that you served as a pastor and a children's pastor, which is incredible. And when I was hearing that you worked with children, I worked with children. I worked in a preschool. And, Jim, I liked to make every child feel special. And I would compliment every child that I encountered every day. And just a kind word and making a child feel special meant so much to them. They would go home and tell their parents, and their parents would come in and say, oh, Miss Betsy, their child would say, you said this, and you made them so happy. That's all it takes. It's just a kind word sometimes, a word of encouragement can do somebody wonders. And that's why, I always say, be kind, because it's just so simple to do. And if we were to show kindness, that is very helpful. Is that one of the essential virtues, is showing kindness, Jim?
Well, actually, I'm sure you would agree that there are more than the 12 that I wrote about. And, of course, kindness did cross my mind, but it's not in this particular one. But you never know. I might have another book called 12 More. But that's certainly such an important one.
What are some of the virtues that you have in your book?
I call them virtues. Yeah, I will tell you what they are. I called them virtues because, a value is something that exists whether we realize it or not. But a virtue is a value that we have made a decision to engage and to practice as a lifestyle. So I tackle 12 in this book. One is love, and I put that first because it's a master key to all the others. After that is courage, and then there is friendship and honesty and hope and optimism. Then comes faithfulness and diligence and gratitude, mercy, faithfulness, things like that. So I think I nailed probably 10 of them right there.
Well, they are definitely virtues. I mean, gratitude, you mentioned, Jim. How many people, they don't have a sense of gratitude? They have a sense of entitlement. But to be grateful when the chips are down, and to be grateful to, to God, if you don't believe in God, to whoever you worship, and just to be grateful. You know what? I'm grateful that this happened, and it's hard sometimes to be grateful. I know that. I didn't start really being grateful until 6 years ago. Truly grateful. I was pessimistic. And then I started to flip my beliefs and to be grateful. And I just want to say, Jim, that people, I think they are mistaken where, they think they have to like something. You don't have to like something. Nobody likes getting an illness. No one likes seeing their loved one die. But to be grateful that you spent your life with them, to be grateful that you're still alive. I'm very grateful. I can tell you that. I'm grateful I made it through caregiving with my health intact, and, I always give God the honor and the glory, because I certainly couldn't have done it myself. And I do have faith, and I'm not ashamed of my faith, and I just feel like, you know what, even when I don't have a good day, I'm still grateful that I had a day. That will change your attitude. I'm one of my soapbox. Go ahead, Jim.
It's a great soapbox to be on, Betsy.
Thank you.
That is a great one to be on. I couldn't agree more because, that is something within our power. There's things that happen to us that are not in our power, but exercising these, being grateful is in our power. And as you say, you're faced with a choice. Is this going to dominate me, this circumstance, or am I going to pull this thing out of me and apply gratitude, like you're saying? Because there's something, like you're saying, to be grateful for. So if I lived the rest of my life and I look back and I was on my last day on earth, and I was able to look back and I had exercised gratitude every day of my life, and I had loved every day of my life, and I either took courage or gave courage to someone else every day, and I was honest every day, and I was diligent, and I was either received hope or gave hope every day. If I practiced these things, would I have lived an extraordinary life? And I say yes.
Yes.
So I might not have made, $1 million, but would I have lived an extraordinary life? And so I say gratitude, since you tackled that one, is the great equalizer. That's what I call that in the chapter subhead. It's the great equalizer, because we have so much to be grateful for. And the thing is that gratitude will either raise you up to where you should be, or if you're too high, it's going to bring you down to where you should be, because none of us get to where we are alone. Are you willing to acknowledge the unsung heroes that helped you get to where you are? You could have the greatest hitter in the game of baseball. He had a mentor. He had someone that taught him how to swing that bat. So that's what I say, it's the great equalizer, because if you're down, gratitude will bring you up. And if you're too far up, it's going to bring you back down.
Yes, yes, definitely.
There's a sweet spot we need to maintain.
Yes, yes. Can you give an example of mercy?
I can.
Because when I think of mercy, the first thing that comes to my mind is being able to forgive somebody who did you wrong.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story, and I think you'll be able to relate to this because of some of the things that you went through with your husband. But, my father died last year, and it was a thing where he was admitted to the hospital and he was suffering greatly. And the nurse, she's the unsung hero in this story. And this story is in my book on the chapter of mercy. And I found her crying by herself the night he died. I never would have known that, but I bumped into her and she's crying, and I asked her why she's crying. And she said she didn't think he would make it through the night. And because of that small act of speaking with her for about 15 minutes or so, I determined, you know what, I think she knows what she's talking about. And so we had a family of 6. The 5 of us found a way to spend the night in the hospital, even though most of us didn't sleep at all. But we were there, and so when he died at 3:30 in the morning, and we were all around him. We were there because of her mercy, that she was so compassionate toward him. Not but 12 hours before that, I think it was, she had asked him, if today were your last day on earth, who would you want to be with you? And he said, my mom and us 4 kids. And so because of that, just another act of her mercy, we were all able to spend an hour and a half with him on his deathbed. But even he didn't know he was going to die later that day, nor did we. But we spent that significant time. And so by the time he woke up at 3:30 in the morning from a really, really long nap, he was ready to go, and we all came in and spent just we all believe he knew we were there. But it was her mercy gift that allowed this moment to be shared with his family the way he wished for it to happen.
Wow, that's a beautiful story. It make me get choked up. My condolences on your dad. But what a beautiful human being that nurse was, to know, to have that wisdom, and to have you all know and be there with your dad. And hearing's the last sense to go, and your dad knew that you all were there.
Mm-hmm.
He heard you.
Yes, and I call. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to me, a hero is a helper. Because, it sounds counterintuitive at first. Oh, I want to be a hero. Well, that sounds kind of egotistical, doesn't it?
Yes.
But
yes.
when you reframe it and say, I want to be a helper, then that takes the limit off. What can you imagine, dream, conceive of different ways to help? Helping people is a theme, right? But how many ways can you help? Unlimited number of ways you can help people. So I say this, we used to have these, I think they probably still make them 1-a-day vitamins. I just say this, 1 a day helps someone in some way. Every day.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes.
And find a new way to do it. Find a new way. But do it where it's comfortable to you. It's like sometimes people get uncomfortable thinking, well, I'm not comfortable with this or that. That's fine. Do what's comfortable for you, what fits in your skin. And the thing is, after you have contributed that, and you do it genuinely, sincerely, authentically, it's not fake. It's grounded and connected. You truly cared about that person or that life or how you could help. At the end of the night, what happened? Well, you got some joy.
Yes.
In an indirect,
Yeah,
in an indirect way, you benefited from the thing you gave.
so that's so true, Jim. I know in my own personal life, and ever since I was young, I was 4 years old when my mother had pneumonia, and I decided then to be a nurse. I always loved helping people, and I still do. And I just get like a natural high from it. You know, it really makes me feel good. And I remember my sister, we shared a room, and she thought I was sleeping. I heard her talking to a friend of hers, and she was smoking pot at the time. And she said, Betsy gets high from life. She gets high from helping other people. And I was only 15 at the time.
15 years old.
Yeah, I was a candy striper. And I always, enjoyed helping people. And that's why I'm grateful for the platform that I have, like this show, is to help people. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity to do that. And I know that people are uncomfortable when someone calls them a hero. I know it makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to be put on a pedestal. But, just to know that you help someone, even though, like, sometimes I don't know how I helped somebody, but they said that I did, I'm glad I helped them. I'm glad I helped them at a time in their life when they needed help. And I feel, Jim, like that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other. And I think the world has lost its humanity in a lot of ways, but I think we need to get back to that, to love each other, to be kind to each other, to be heroes to each other.
I couldn't agree more. We're made for connection, right? I mean, that's what we were made for. It's no different than that the puzzle pieces in the box, those 500 pieces or however many, they were made for connection. No one takes the puzzle piece out of the box and sets it aside by itself and says, well, this is the greatest piece in the puzzle. No. The value of that one piece is how it connects with the others. And we know when we get down to the end of putting that puzzle together, it's missing one piece, and that's how important that one piece was. So, you don't want to separate it out where it's the only thing, right? But when the whole puzzle gets put together, you have to have that piece. It's important. You put it in there, and now you're done. So, we were made for connection. And if we understood that, care takes us light years down the road. You look at this life or that life. What made this fail and what made this succeed? Look at care. Was there any care exercised in that situation? Well, maybe that's why it failed. It could be a situation at work, in a business, an organization, a team, a sports team, any team, or even a family. Was there care exercised? If the answer is no, maybe that's what failed. Because care, in my opinion, takes us light years down the road. Because when you care, you'll find the means and the way to get something done. And if you're apathetic and you don't care, nothing's going to get done. You won't come up with any ideas, right? If you don't care, you won't think about it. You won't brainstorm or imagine or dream of what you can do to make that better.
That's very true. I agree, and I think the virtues that you listed, they kind of meld into each other. When you have love for someone, and I think it gives you courage, and you do care, and it'll make you faithful in doing a good job every day, showing up for somebody every day, and being a good friend to somebody. I think that these are just interconnected with each virtue. There's a connection.
Well, you and I, Betsy, are just right on the same soapbox, aren't we? Because I call those virtues a family. And
yes.
every family member is important. So if you're practicing courage and giving courage, not just receiving courage, giving it, then the other ones come alongside to help, right?
Right. Yes.
If you're facing a situation where there's hate, and then so what is the answer here? You're focusing what? On love. But then you find, like you said, well, here comes courage to help. And then it's like, well, hope's knocking on the door and saying, hey, you guys need me at all? And so
yes.
you say, yeah, come on in. We can use some hope here. So, yes, I do agree. They're connected. They're kin. They're family.
Yes, that's for sure. And I have to say this, Jim, in my experience in dealing with my husband's illness, I learned, and my son, Josh, we learned a deep, unconditional love that gave us the courage to be caregivers and to, do things for someone who cannot do things for you. And it's a level of love that's so hard for me to put into words, but there's such a deep connection that it's hard to explain. But I know that, and I'm grateful that Matt knew who we were till he couldn't talk anymore, and that was really near the end. But I was grateful that I learned that. And my son is compassionate for it. He's a better person. And we could teach our children such wonderful life lessons in, with caregiving and caregiving, just caring for others, even if you're not a caregiver, just showing care for other people and love for other people. You're setting an example for your children.
Absolutely. Look at the growth that you experienced, all of you. And so the blessing and the benefit of that for you and your son, it grew, right? And you all grew from that. So
yes.
The effect, it keeps going and moving, and it's transferable. And you all partook of, this blessing. It was big enough for all of you.
Yes, that's for sure. And love, I believe, like I said before, it does give you the courage to go on. And, it just fills you up and blesses you. Because when your loved one can't talk, and I believe that God gave us 2 ears, and that ears, your hearing, is the last sense to go. I believe God had it that way so that we could tell our loved ones that we love them and they could hear us. Even though they can't talk, they could hear. And that's such a blessing.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah. Yeah, hearing is the last sense to go. And I really believe that God made us that way so we could hear our loved ones talk to us. And I just want to tell the audience, if your loved one, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here, but if your loved one can't talk, and if your loved one might be dying, keep talking to them. They know your voice. Believe me, they do. They hear you, and they know it. Love, Jim, is such a strong emotion that I say that dementia robs the brain, but dementia cannot ever rob the heart.
Wow.
Because love is powerful. Love rules the heart.
Yeah, there's so much in it, right? I call love the master key in my my book. I'm not sure why I said it that way. But in my book, love is so important. There's so much in it. We know that. The potential of it is so great and so vast that sometimes it gets taken for granted. And I don't want to take that for granted. Therefore, I encourage, if someone asks me, well, what, really? You wrote about love? Isn't like that the most overworked word in the English language? Maybe, but the thing is, there's maybe more taken for granted in that word than any word in the English language as far as what it will do, where it will take you, where you can go from here. Because let's face it, life is about character transformation, Betsy.
Right.
Where am I today? Where was I before? Am I different? Am I changed? Well, good. And looking today from this mountaintop or plateau, how am I going to change in the future? We have to have that arc of growth, the arc of change. And love is the thing that's going to get us there. It's a deposit. It's an investment in each of our lives. If I had all this money in the bank, would I not use it? Right? Well, if you have all this love in your life, if we have all this love in our life, we're going to use it, aren't we? So how can we? That's the only thing. That's why I wanted to explore these in the book. So every chapter has an unsung hero story, but then it's a diving board into the subject matter. So I look under the rocks, let's look at this subject. Where can it take us in the future? Because listing on our goal charts, people, I want to make a certain amount of money. I want to go and do this. I want to go on a vacation. A lot of external goals. How about putting some of these things on our goal charts? How can I grow in love? What are ways I can elevate my game in love? And I think if we did that, we'd find that our priorities would change, and then even our external achievements would even improve.
Yes, that's very true. And I've heard this so much, Jim, when people, I'm going to be 66 next month, so if I live to 70, it only gives me 4 more years, which life goes by quick. But when people are near the end of their life, their time at the office, their time at their job, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter how many vacations they went to, awards they won. What matters is that they want their family with them, and they want the love of their family with them. So love really is a very strong base and a foundation, because that's what people want throughout their life, and especially, I don't mean to be morbid, but at the end, they don't ask to be at the office. They don't ask to have accolades poured upon them. They want to feel the love of their family, and that's very powerful.
Absolutely. I think that people sometimes underestimate the influence that they have had even in times past, things they did in their life to help other people that maybe went unnoticed, that they didn't get the applause for, but that they mattered and they counted. And that sort of concept is in my introduction, and I won't go into it all here. The things you do in your life that you don't always get credit for doesn't mean they didn't matter. They did matter. They do matter. They will matter. And at the end of life, like you said, when you evaluate your life, it's the evaluation of those things. It's like, what? Really? That really mattered? That really counted? Yeah, it did.
Yes, and Jim, you know as well as I do that we really don't know the ripples that we cause in our lifetime, whether they be for good, positive, or negative. Let's hope there's more positive ripples out there. We don't know. We don't know who's listening, who's watching. We don't know how we affect other people. And people can hear you, they could hear me and say, wow, you know what, I'm going to take that advice, and that advice really helped me. But you wouldn't know that because that person would contact you. But we just don't know how we affect other people, and we do. As that saying goes, no man is an island. We are all connected. And it's just a beautiful, to me, it's beautiful how we are connected to each other and how we can make a difference in someone's life. And I feel, Jim, that when someone makes a difference in someone's life for the better, then that person's a hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, I use this term, wear no capes. Well, it's just true. And the thing is, when you look at the superheroes like Superman, it's not that we're trying to be like Superman. It's that truth is stranger than fiction, and Superman's more like a lot of us. And that is that we go in the phone booth, plain old Clark Kent, plain old Betsy, plain old Jim. We go in the phone booth of our determination and decisions, and we come out of that phone booth extraordinary. And what is it? It's with Superman, it was a cut above disposition to help people, right? And the trajectory of his stories, anytime he got like his eyes off of that and became any little bit of selfish, it was always his downfall. What's the same with us? That's the kryptonite, is selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do? If we want an extraordinary life, like is in my book title, we go into the phone booth. That's where being extraordinary starts. It's not out there where you're saving Lois Lane. It's in the phone booth of your decisions about what am I going to do with my life today and tomorrow and the next day. That's where you're extraordinary. Then when you go out of the phone booth, you've already made your decision. You're just going somewhere to happen.
That is cool. I love Superman. When I was a little girl, I used to watch Superman. I wanted him to fly me around somewhere. And you know, to me, like firemen or women, they are heroes because they're running into a burning building when everyone else is running out. They're going into danger, and that's what they chose to do. I mean, there's so many heroes out there, folks. You know, your police officers, your first responders, nurses, doctors. Think about what people, you know, did for each other during the pandemic. And anyone can be a hero. And, Jim, I would love to have you on again because I didn't even get to talking about the Osage tribe, the Indians. Not that Martin Scorsese needs my promotion.
Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime because that's such an amazing story. And, you know, I mean, a lot of if you're going to tie that story to one of those virtues or the lack thereof, it's honesty.
Yes.
There was so much dishonesty. Dishonesty never benefits anyone, Betsy. I think we know that. And so why would anyone ever practice something that's never going to work? Dishonesty doesn't work. It harms. people. And so if we're going to go in the phone booth to change something, that's one thing to get right. Never lie about anybody, to anybody, about anything. That's a good decision, isn't it?
That is,
that
is.
What are the benefits down the line for me, for my family, for anyone? What are the benefits for being honest? And what is the downfall for not being honest? So that's the Osage story. There's a lot of lessons in it.
Yes, that is for sure. And I highly recommend the movie. I saw that with my son. Wasn't taught that in history when I went to school, and I was just heartbroken to learn how these people were treated, and the greed, dishonesty, the inhumanity, the greed that you would kill someone for money.
Mm-hmm.
To me is just awful, and it's, like, you don't get blessed that way, folks. I mean, you might think so temporarily, but not in the long run. And highly recommend that movie to learn about a dark period of history, but it did happen. And I have to have you on again to talk about your work with the Osage tribe. You're out in Oklahoma, and it was a tremendously moving picture. And I have to thank you, Jim North, for coming on and writing your book. Where can people purchase your book?
Well, they could it's on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Walmart, all three, but the links to all three are on my website. So if a person went to jimbnorth.com, JIMBNORTH.com, the links to Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Walmart they all live on the website. So it can be purchased that way.
Oh, great. And folks, I highly recommend you going on the website, jimbnorth.com, and buying this book. You know what? It's holiday time. All the holidays are coming up. Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, and whatever else is out there that I don't know about. And this book would make a wonderful gift to give to someone. I think it would be a wonderful gift to give to a caregiver, and just to encourage them. Maybe a nurse that you know, maybe a teacher. To me, teachers are heroes. It's a book that should be read by everyone, and I think you would be a better person for having buying the book and reading it. I really encourage everyone to do that. And again, Jim, it was a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for coming on, chatting with Betsy.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, Betsy. I think we probably could have talked all day long if we wanted to, right?
Yes, that's for
we
sure.
Have a lot to share with each other.
Yes, you will have to definitely come on again next year, because you have so much to offer people, and I would like to talk, just the show, to talk about the Osage tribe and their story, and what
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon,
right.
Yes, that's the new.
By name, yes. Killers of the Flower Moon. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. I probably got the title wrong. Flower. Did I say Flower the Killer Moon? Yes. what you said. That's how that you said. And folks, I just love doing what I do. And you heard Jim B. North today, and his book is Unsung Heroes Wear No Capes, 12 Essential Virtues for an Extraordinary Life. Buy yourself a copy. Buy a copy and give it as a gift. And all the information about Jim and his website will be in the blog that Jeannie White, his station manager, writes and produces the show. So I want to thank Jeannie for all she does. And I want to thank Lillian Caldwell, who's CEO of Passionate World Talk Radio. It makes this all possible. And I want to thank you, the listeners. Thank you for listening, subscribing. If you don't already subscribe, Chatting with Betsy is for free on Spreaker, Spotify, and YouTube, Amazon Music. I have phenomenal guests. I'm here to help you. Here to help you have a better life and provide resources to help you. And I believe that Unsung Heroes Wear No Capes is a wonderful resource. And I think that when you go on Jim B. North's website, you will definitely be grateful for going on there. There's a lot of information, and just, Jim, to me, you are a blessing. You've blessed me tonight, inspired me. You're welcome. Just hear Jim on other shows that he was on. I did, and I was blessed to hear him. I said, I can't wait for Jim to be on my show. I'm so grateful, and I'm grateful for what I do.
I'm grateful as well, Betsy, truly. Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome. And, folks, as I always say at the end of my show, in a world where you can be anything, please be kind and shine your light bright, because if we all did that, it would be a much kinder, brighter world, and we need that now more than ever. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Facebook, Betsy, Betsye, Wurzel, Wurzel. You can go on my Facebook page and see a glimpse of my personal life. See my son. You could see videos of my husband, pictures, if you like. I post a lot about Alzheimer's awareness. That's my passion, and caregiving, and mental health, among other causes. And I just want to thank everyone for listening. And that's what I have to say today, folks. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio, a subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Till we chat again, be safe, everyone. Bye-bye now.